Hi all! Everything in my video is pulled from the public domain, and I am using them under the Fair Use, Fair Dealings guidelines. Everything I say is my own opinion. You should look into this information for yourselves, but I'm pretty sure I'm right. Hi everybody! Okay, so I got advice from people, including Taz. Now, I am no Taz. Her makeup is always perfect. She looks gorgeous every time she's on camera. You're not going to get that from me. She must have been trained in how to do makeup because her makeup is always like perfect. Anyway, apparently YouTube is upset with the YouTubers that don't ever put themselves on camera. And so for that reason, I am going to start doing just a smidge of narration on my videos. Okay, so that's what we're going to be doing in between, the stories that we're covering. So we're just going to give this a try and see how I do. Okay, all right, let's get in there. Let's go. We're starting off with a space picture from the black hole again on Twitter. And this is the sharpest picture of Pluto taken by the New Horizons spacecraft in 2015. Not to be outdone, also on Twitter, from a handle called How Things Are Manufactured, this is a photo of the eruption of Mount Etna in Sicily that gives the illusion of a phoenix in the sky. How cool is that? All right, we have a lot to cover today. One big story has nothing to do with the royals. So let's just jump in with both feet and go, shall we? Let's go. We're going to start off this morning. We're not even talking about the royals. We're going to start off, I think it's pronounced Hecht. We all know that she had that horrible car accident. Her car, after she drove it into a house, caught fire. They weren't able to extricate her. And by the time they did, she was horribly burned. Apparently, when they took her away from the scene, she was awake and speaking. You can see from the picture, she was up on her elbows. Now, they did put her into a medically induced coma. So here's what happened. First of all, she crashed into a garage of an apartment complex, and they tried to stop her. But before they could get her, she zoomed down the street and crashed into a home in Mar Vista. Okay. The blood test that they did, according to the articles, revealed drugs in her system. We know, you could see in the picture that was taken when she hit the garage. The first time around, there was an alcohol bottle in there. But I think they put her into the coma and they were hoping to bring her out of the coma. But now they're saying that she's actually brain dead and they're keeping her on life support at this point to see if she can be an organ donor because apparently that was her wish. This poor woman whose house she hit has literally lost every single thing she's ever owned. There's a GoFundMe that's been started. Bless her. For those who don't know, she's an American actress who became famous after she played twins on a soap opera called Another World. And she won a Daytime Emmy in that soap opera. She's also well known for having a relationship with Ellen DeGeneres. Yeah, it's very sad, the whole thing. All right, let's move on. Real quick, I've gotten a bunch of emails about these pictures that I put up of Meghan, and I told you guys that she was rolling her eyes at her dad. And people said, no, she wasn't. No, she wasn't. That's not true. Okay, watch this.
Determined.
Told ya. My God. All right, moving on. Now, I also want to throw in, because a couple of times I've put in videos and then people have come back and said that's a copyright claim and I have to cut the video out. So if that video is gone, or if you ever see a video of mine where, I say, watch this and then there's nothing there, that's what happened. All right, now let's move on. All right, this came up today on Twitter, and thank you to Unlikely Bot for this. Now, we know that Harry stated that he was going to donate $1.5 million to Sentible from the profits of his book. And it was already announced that he'd already received like $20 million as an advance, or he received this ridiculous amount as an advance. And everybody said, well, why didn't he go ahead and donate the money to Sentible? Why is he waiting? So the book was not released, but in 2021, Sentible said the money was received. Now, look at what it says above. It says at the time of the Polo Cup, Harry committed to donating the $1.5 million to Sentible, enabling us to continue operating at full scale and providing critical services to at-risk youth in Southern Africa. The donation has subsequently been received and will be included in next year's reports and accounts. Remember, that was in 2021, Sentible said the money was received. Something very odd is going on here. Could it be that Nacho fronted the money? Is that possible? Because you never know where the money's actually coming from. Interesting. Does anybody else find that odd? Very, very odd how that's going. Yeah. All right, let's move on. All right, Angela Levin said that the shattering of Prince Harry's soul has been palpable, and I agree. And this is what she said. You can see it above. It says, in my book, the sign of a truly honest person is someone who readily admits that they don't always tell the truth. Such people aren't rabid liars. They might just add a little window dressing to a pub story, and usually because it's coming from the fabled good place. Be a little economical with facts to spare the feelings. There you go. You know, like when you tell somebody, yeah, I just love that black dress you're wearing, and the truth is it makes them look terrible. You know what I'm talking about. But anyway, what she wrote was that you can't blame Harry all the time, because ever since he was walking behind his mother's coffin, the shattering of his soul has been palpable. You know what I mean? Given the years, she said, given the years of hurt, damage, misplaced decisions, and loss, coupled with his anger at his criticism of his wife, you know, how can you trust Harry to be the storyteller of his own life? So the prince's book is due to be released, you know, at some point. We really don't even know when. And he said he's writing this not as the prince he was born, but as the man he's become. So in other words, his truth. Will it be the truth? No, it'll be his truth. There you go. We know that this was ghost written, and it's being reported it was ghost written during a time when he was at his peak rage. Yeah. So if he doesn't complain and doesn't explain, then he's going to set himself free from holding on to a life that doesn't want him anymore. You know? So even with all the new books that are coming out to give new insight into the lives and behavior of the royal family, Harry must have been reflecting on how exposing his innermost feelings damaged his late mother. We know this. So I've said it before, it's like a train wreck in slow motion. And now I will say this. She said America adores Harry. That's absolutely not true. And she also said the U.S. wants to hear his psychobabble. That also is absolutely untrue. Over half of the United States, they did a poll, doesn't even know who he is. And the other half that does know who he is, over half of them have had enough of his psychobabble. Yeah. All right, moving on. All right, I'm dropping back into this story from the other day that I told you about. Harry and Meghan have bought themselves another award. But you know what people are noticing? They're helping Afghan refugees, but they haven't done anything for UK or US veterans. And they are some spot-on comments, because actually all they ever did for U.S. veterans was trample on their graves during a photo shoot with a fashion photographer trying to go against the royal family on Remembrance Day. Good catch, though. All right, next up, this story is being passed around on Twitter. I have no idea if it's true or not, but they're saying that Harry and Meghan are trying to privately sell the house that they bought. If that's true, I think it would be because they're starting to run out of money. And I'm saying that again because they're running through Harry's inheritance like water, and they did not receive $100 million from Netflix. Everybody thinks they did. They didn't. They have to produce, and they haven't. And that's the problem. And talking about Spotify, something very interesting. You guys know Teresa Longo. She's the one who always reports everything ahead of time and seems to know what the heck is happening. She put this up on Twitter. It would appear that the reason nothing is coming out from Spotify or Netflix is Harry and Meghan are repeatedly citing mental health reasons to explain away missing key deadlines and conflict. That doesn't surprise me at all. All right, moving on. All right, we're going to go back to this whole security thing because it's really blowing up now. Now, let me remind you that the judge was so upset about Harry's misleading information that he was putting online that he actually put it in his decision that Harry was responsible for public statements which claimed he was willing to pay for police protection and that his legal challenge was to the government's refusal to permit him to do so, whereas the true position, as revealed in documents filed in the legal proceeding, was that he had only made the offer to pay after the proceedings had commenced. Okay, I've already shown you this, guys, before. You've seen it. Now, remember, I showed you this also, that it's Omid Scobie who's saying that it is essential that Harry and Meghan get the security back before it's too late. Now, we all know he's writing a second Finding Freedom book. He's already claimed that he's really not attached to Harry and Meghan. We already know from the court documents, he signed forms, legal documents that said that he, had nothing with Harry and Meghan. They had nothing to do with the book. And of course, it all came spilling out later on that was untrue. He claims he is not their spokesperson, and he brings up what's going on with the person who had the mental difficulties, who was arrested and sectioned with the crossbow as an example of Harry needing protection. Now, he's claiming that the reason he has not returned to the UK, Harry is because his U.S. security team doesn't have adequate jurisdiction. We all know that what's really going on is Meghan doesn't want to return to the UK. She hates it there. He doesn't even like it there. He said it on camera. I even showed you a video before where he said he doesn't like it there. He hates it. Then he's claimed that he offered to pay for security, and now we, of course, know again that this man who is the champion of misinformation lied, and that was never made until actually the whole thing had come out. Okay? I'm trying not to laugh, you guys. Then, of course, Omid came out and said, people just assume that I speak for them, but the truth is I'm really not affiliated with them. I'm just the person who wrote their book, essentially, is what he's saying. But then in the same breath, he goes, but the reason Harry said this in the meeting is because Ravik tried to stop him. Now, that is a bombshell accusation that nobody else has made. And where do you think he got that information from? He got it from Harry. So now this is where things are blowing up. Now, this was put up on Twitter. I wish I could tell you where I got it. I like to give credit where credit is due, but I really can't remember where it came from. Anyway, it says very clearly that Harry is asking for permission to apply for a judicial review concerning the arrangements made for police-provided, publicly funded personal protective security when he is in Great Britain. There you go. It's right there in black and white. He wants the UK public to pay for his security, even though he doesn't work for the UK public anymore. Need I say more? There it is in black and white. So now the backlash is starting because people are upset that Omid is still the Sussex's mouthpiece and he's demanding security. Now, let's keep in mind at the same time, Harry and Meghan suddenly put out articles that the police had been called to their house multiple times for trespassers, but very interesting that they never found anybody. You know what I'm saying? And of course, there's going to be backlash. The UK doesn't want to pay for him. He left the country. He called everybody a racist, him and his wife. He's put untold stress on the Queen, and it's now come out in the news that all of this stuff going on has affected her health. He is completely responsible for all of that. People want to blame Meghan, but that's his family. And he didn't do anything to curb her. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, the backlash is growing. He might as well never return to the UK. I don't think anybody there has any interest in him whatsoever. And here's some of the backlash. An article came out basically calling Omid a pillock. I'm not sure what that is. And a prat. I think I know what that means. The articles are coming out saying he's showing himself as the ultimate example of a rotten to his core PR peddler for the Duchess of Sussex, which is what it is. The article says that the book he's writing is clearly aimed at countering Tom Bower's revenge book, and he's going to scavenge anything he can from the car wreck, as it says in the article, that is the boring story of a modern day Mr. and Mrs. Wallace Simpson. Yeah, the world is laughing at this guy. He's laughing at all three of them, and they just don't get it. That's what I don't know. So the article says, quote, "Can anybody solve a problem like Megan?" And then it has bullet points like, in November, she had to apologize to the appeals court for making a misleading statement. Her own father called her out on the lies that she said again and again and again, like the wedding. Her own sister is bringing a defamation case against her for her lies. Her own half-brother, Thomas Jr., told Prince Harry that she was going to ruin his life, that she was phony, a bully, a conceited woman. Meghan Markle, has now been called out for stories that she's lied against the royal family and staff that have claimed that she's bullied. Meghan is well known as a press and paparazzi manipulator, who question the truth and spin the truth. Questions still remain how many times she's been married. I mean, this article, you guys need to read this article. I mean, I don't know what else to say. It basically points out that, Omid tries to say that he's got nothing to do with Harry and Meghan. It's pretty obvious he does. He's their PR peddler. He wrote that he's getting online threats as an extension to Harry and Meghan, but he really shouldn't be getting them because he's not their close friend and he's not their spokesperson. We already know that he is. I mean, come on. All right, let's move on. Now, here's an interesting story. Do you guys remember Global Citizens? And they had a festival and they did it in Central Park, and Harry and Meghan came out on the stage and, she's hugging up on him. Oh, you guys remember that? They're having another event. And that woman, I don't think I'm going to say her name right, Priyanka Chopra, the one who's married to the Jonas brother, she's hosting. And there's a whole list of people that are going to be attending. And guess who was not invited? Makes you wonder. All right, we are winding up here. Just a few more stories. This one came out saying Prince William is consumed by fear and has denied Harry and Meghan access to the Earthshot Prize in Boston. Actually, we already know that Harry and Meghan reached out and offered to assist with the Earthshot Prize, and they were told no. He has not barred them from anything, but this article also clearly says, which I believe, that they're going to put something out at about that time in order to try to steal the attention, and I believe that because we've seen that. They do that all the time. All right, I have an update for you on the removal of titles bill. Remember, it was put in, and what this would do if it's passed is it would give the reigning monarch the ability to remove titles without having to go through Parliament. Apparently, it was introduced by this lovely lady that you see above, and here's the best news. It is moving along. Yes, it's past the first stage of, you have to talk about it, and then it has to go to the second stage. So the first stage, it has to get through the first reading of the House of Commons. Now it's on to the second reading. After all of that is done, then it will go to the House of Lords. And then after it goes through that, then it will go to the final stages. Yes, it is moving along. Fabulous. All right, ladies and gentlemen, this is going to be the last story for today's video, that there are bombshell claims that are eroding Harry and Meghan's credibility. Like we didn't know that already, right? We know how bad Harry's performance was at the UN. He talked about a global assault on democracy and freedom. He talked about quote unquote transformative measures to avert climate change. It's blah, 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 and don't forget, the whole thing was supposed to be about Nelson Mandela. He barely mentioned him, probably because he never met him and he knows nothing about him. So all of that, plus Tom Bauer's book. It's like I agree with what the article said. It's like a steady drip, 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 drip at Harry and Meghan's credibility, because it's the monarchy that will ultimately be vindicated, because Harry and Meghan have made claim after claim after claim after claim after claim that have all been proven to be lies. And the only reason the Sussex Squad and all these other people are backing them is because they see her as black, which is something she didn't identify as until she met Harry. Not really. Her resume said white. She was Caucasian. And her school friends thought she was Italian. So, I mean, at what point do you say, you know, this isn't right, and maybe we're backing a losing horse? Like, when is that going to happen? Yeah, it will eventually happen. Unfortunately, when it does, I think it's going to be really sad. So I'm going to end this video. Yes, I've changed clothes. The live was today on Padina's channel with Royal Daily Tea. I hope everybody tuned in and enjoyed it. If you missed it, you can still go to her channel and watch it. So I really want your comments. You know I'm reading them, so don't forget to leave them below, okay? Don't forget to hit the subscribe button and the bell to be notified with my uploads. Don't forget you can follow me on Twitter, Getter, Rumble. You can email me. For those of you who've donated through my coffee fund and through the thanks button, thank you so much. And as always, you guys, have a great day.